Zach is back with a horror Netflix original review. So it's October, you guys. They're coming out with horror movies now. So today we're reviewing In Tall Grass, which is a new Netflix movie that came out within the last week. And let me tell you, it reminds me a lot of the SpongeBob episode where Squidward, SpongeBob, and Patrick get stuck out in the kelp and they can't figure out how to get out of the place.
The shell knows all!
Oh, magic conch shell, what do we need to do to get out of the kelp forest?
Nothing.
The shell has spoken!
That's this movie in a nutshell. The beginning of this movie is very, very strong, simple, yet effective. The beginning of the movie starts off with a brother and sister on a road trip going through Kansas. The woman in the car is pregnant, so what happens is she gets sick, so she needed to throw up. They pull off to the side of the road, she throws up, and they're right next to this cornfield. You can hear a little kid screaming in the cornfield saying, "Somebody help me, somebody help me, come someone quick, please come over here. It's not a trap at all, come over here, help me." And guess what? They go out to help him. And when they go out to help him, they find out that the cornfield has, I guess you'd say, a little bit of a magical property to it. And they can't seem to find their way out of the cornfield. Like, they'll just go straight in a straight line the entire way and go, okay, let's go back. And they go back and they don't know where the road is. They don't know where the car went. They're just in this mile-long, sea of corn. In a part of this movie, they infer that a person died from starvation out in this cornfield, and I can't really see that happening, or at least if they're stuck in the cornfield for like a year. But they have like infinite amount of food to eat, so I'm not really sure how people are starving out there. Maybe lack of water, but starving, no. So what did I think about this movie? The first third of the movie is actually very interesting and it piques your curiosity. Like, you can hear voices in the crops that are coming from different people other than the kid that was yelling for them in the beginning. So you're trying to figure out, like, who's in the crops? Where are they at? There's even voices that sound like their relatives. So you're really trying to figure out, like, are there ghosts in here? Are there monsters? Is it a trap? It feels like a trap. And then there's this pregnant lady with her brother that gets split up, and they're trying to find out where they're located. And whenever they yell at each other, they'll actually hear their brother in different places. So you're not sure if it's their brother that's talking in one place, if the other one's talking and that one's the real one, if they're both not real, is the person moving around in the crops? You have no clue. You're trying to figure that out, and it's very interesting. The first part of this movie actually gets you legitimately on edge because the interesting part about the beginning of this movie, it feels obviously like there's magic going on in the movie, but it feels grounded in reality where, you could get lost in a crop field, it wouldn't be that hard to do, especially if you got turned around and you don't have a compass on you, you're lost out there, especially if it's a huge one that's, expands for miles, so it kind of has that realism portion in it that makes you feel like that could happen to you, but also having that mysterious magic element that, really makes you go, okay, I have no clue what's going on right now. It's scary, it makes you curious. I like it. The first part of this movie is actually quite a treat to watch. So after the first third of this movie, the movie ends up changing from like a mystery into a murder slasher film, and that's where it kind of like drops off the cliff for me. It's alright, it's not anything special, but you've seen it before in other movies, And the first part of this movie was very interesting. It just kind of becomes more about the slasher element, and a murder, I guess to say, movie than actually a mystery involved, At least to me it does. Also, after the first part with the crops and things like that and trying to figure out how to get out, the next couple parts of the movie where it becomes a murder movie, it gets very convoluted with all the things they add into it that just really didn't need to exist at all. It felt like this movie was supposed to be a short film, but someone wanted to make the runtime a feature-length film. So what happens is that they ran out of ideas, and they ended up just starting throwing a lot of horror cliches near the end of the movie. At least that's what I feel like the movie did. It just felt like it was good, it made sense, everything was crystal, and then they kind of, janked it up with a bunch of stuff that, really had nothing to do with the beginning plot point of the movie, which is just trying to find your way out of a goddamn cornfield. And then it became like a murder/alien sort of movie. I don't want to go any further details. It just becomes very cliche and convoluted towards the end. It's like they just added a bunch of stuff for no reason. One of the issues I have with this movie is that near the end of the movie, all the characters start bickering and bitching at each other for not any real particular reason. I mean, they're in a dire life or death situation, and you know what's the best thing to do during that situation? Is bitch at each other. But I think the bitching and the bickering in the movie, at least at the end of the movie, was there to flesh out the characters. The problem with that is that you don't need to flesh out the characters at the very, very, very end of the movie. Because you need that fleshing out to happen in the beginning of the movie so you can care about the characters throughout the movie. You don't just throw in random dialogue and things that help flesh out the characters as an afterthought. That's not how movies are supposed to work. And to be honest with you, this is one of those weird things about horror movies that sometimes can work. You didn't even need to actually flesh out any of the characters, at least in the beginning of the movie. The reason being is that they're almost like a blank slate that you can kind of put yourself in their shoes. Being stuck out in a cornfield and not knowing how to get out is scary enough, and not knowing anything about the characters except having them be like a person that is trying to escape a cornfield actually really makes you feel like you're in the movie in the cornfield trying to escape. But then they kind of decide okay, well, we need to make this movie a little longer. Let's put some extra dialogue towards the end to flesh him out a little bit. And that's why I really think this movie was supposed to be a short film. It has all the problems that a short film being stretched out would have. Like adding random plot points, changing up characters towards the end for no reason, not feeling cohesive to the main point of the beginning of the movie. It just has all those type of problems. So generally in this movie, I feel like the first third of the movie is great. It has you on edge. It piques your curiosity, all that good stuff. The rest of the movie is just okay. They convolute the plot a little bit. The characters change. You didn't really need to, do any real fleshing out towards the end. And especially the way they do it is just by bickering at each other. And nobody likes watching people complain and argue. So for me, I give this movie a C. A C. It was good in the beginning. It kind of falls off tracks towards the end. It's a little annoying. It's alright. It never really piques your interest in the beginning of the movie. And it's just, it was just a fun movie to watch. It's a little bit of a time waster. So I give it a C. It's on the average end. Anything better than that. Just C. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe and do all of that cool YouTube business. Click the little bell for notifications because I'm going to be doing more horror movies soon. Thank you guys so much for watching and see ya!